ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै देवाय तस्मै। न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्। So we saw this Natvevaham Jatu Nasam. You were not there before, it is not, and I was not there before, that is not, and not all these people also were not there before, that is also not, like that. So I mean, so they were all the time there, they are there right now of course, and they will be there also. Nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. In future also, atah param, hereafter also, they will be there in future all the time. So Atma is basically beginningless and limitless in terms of time. So it is Anadi and Ananta. Anadi means beginningless. Ananta means limitless in terms of time. Antaha means end. So it is endless means here it is limitless in terms of time. It's called Ananta. And we saw everything, but with respect to future, we will have to see the thing. So Nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. That part we will have to see, because past we have seen. So basically the sorrow of the Arjuna is just because of this only. So bhavishyamaha is a main thing. Bhavishyamaha means it's a root formed from us only. When us dhatu, us, if you make a future tense, you get that bhavishyamaha, etc. So this will come later in your this one also. So before that also, that the existence was there, and in future also it will remain. Now regarding this, there is one small story-like thing I would like to tell. When the Abhimanyu died in Mahabharata war, that time the whole, everyone was grieving because he was very young. That Abhimanyu was a son of Uttara and Arjuna. I'm sorry. Uttara was, and but anyway, I just forgot. Abhimanyu was, he was dead. His wife was Uttara, I'm sorry. Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu. Arjuna and Subhadra gave a birth to Abhimanyu. I'm sorry. So Abhimanyu was dead. So therefore the wife Uttara was crying so much. And Uttara was carrying a child also, but he didn't born, that Parikshit. And it happened so that then Bhagavan came to give her some solace, etc. So then when Bhagavan gave, in those days they used to give a solace in terms of, talking about Atma and everything. Now we cannot talk like that, but in those days, because people were aware. People were quite aware of all this, and therefore they were talking in terms of that. So Shri Krishna asked Uttara, when Uttara saw that Bhagavan has come, so she broke down. So she was crying too much. And then Bhagavan said, why are you crying? Then she said, this my fate, that the child is not yet born and my husband has passed away, etc., etc. And then Shri Krishna told very beautifully, then why are you considering this moment is so, unfortunate for you? Then she said the same thing, that my child is not born yet and husband has passed away. Then Shri Krishna said, where your husband has not passed, husband is not destroyed. How can you say? Then Uttara said. Then Bhagavan said, Atma doesn't die. Atma doesn't die, and therefore you cannot say that my husband dies in terms of a conscious being if you are talking about. If you are talking about in terms of body, still it is lying there. We have not cremated yet, and therefore how can you say my husband is dead now? Then she said, well, his prana is destroyed. His prana is destroyed. Bhagavan said, prana cannot be destroyed because prana is nothing but the air. Right now you and me are breathing, so air is present. So prana is destroyed, you cannot say. Basically it's the air only. So then she said, no. Prana has departed the body. Then Bhagavan said, if that is the case, before the birth of the body, right? Birth means what? We have talked about. Prana, unites with the body. Then life starts. So before the birth of the body, there was a separation from a prana. And right now also there is a separation from a body. Right now also there is a separation from a body. And therefore, where is the question of, that what is what? Then if you are grieving right now that the prana is separated from the body and that's how I am grieving, then that was a situation earlier also before the birth of the body. Then why don't you grieve for that also? Then she had no answer. She had no answer. It shows that Atma, it doesn't die. Atma was not dead and Atma is not going to die, etc., etc. Anyway, so after the death of the body also, the Atma is going to be there. It's just a question. What was the state before the birth of the body, same state Atma has got now. Atma is definitely devoid of the body, etc. Atma was devoid of the body, etc. earlier also. Now the same state has come where Atma has devoid of even this body also. And therefore, by if that was a situation that Atma was all the time associated with the body, mind, etc., and now, it has been separated from the body, well, you can say you should grieve for. But earlier also it was the same, and right now also it is same. And therefore, if you are grieving right now, because of the Atma is without now body, etc., then that was a state even before also. You should grieve for that. But then she had no answer. It's a question of whether it's earlier time or this time, Atma continues to be there, and therefore the body is right now present, but it is going to die. It was not there before, or later also it won't be there, but Atma would be there all the time. In future also it would be there. And so one beautiful thing Bhagavan Shankaracharya has told is, Katinam suta na lalitaha tativa neha vadura bhunjihi kvanute kvachataha kvavavayam bhavasanga khalu pantha sangamaha. So it says like the logs of wood, when the river is flowing and it's in spate, I mean lot of flood is there, so it carries from both the banks and some kind of a woods along with trees which have fallen, and the woods also go along with the water. Then sometime you find the woods come near to each other and sometimes they separate. That's called Pantha Sangama. So like that, the woods come, sometime in contact with each other, then they got separated, again they come in contact with some other wood, then again they get separated, then that wood comes again in contact with some other wood, and then it got separated. So this is how all this samsara is. People right now come in contact with one kind of a people, and then they got separated. Then they get another body. Then they come in contact with a few other kind of people. Then they come in contact with few other, and that is how it just goes on and on and on. And therefore, Atma has nothing to do with this. Atma was existent before, Atma is right now, and Atma would be there. It's a question of body which Atma gets associated, let's say, gets associated in between through prana to the body. But when the prana gets separated, Atma has nothing to do with. So, Ch2 bhavishyamaha, etc. I mean, even in the future, the Atma was ever there. That is, it will be there, and we should not grieve for. This is much part was left over, so we have finished. So, if you are grieving for, if you are grieving for this, the separation from the body, prana separation of the body, you should grieve for even when the pranas got connected with the body also. But at that time, when then prana gets connected with the body, there is a birth, and you celebrate. But actually Atma was, even before that also, was devoid of the prana and the body, etc. And same situation has now come, so you should not grieve for. Anyway, this is how it is. And now we'll go to the next verse. 13th verse. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati. So here Bhagavan is now giving an example to make Arjuna understand that Atma is always the same and never changes. For that, Bhagavan is giving an example. But instead of talking about Atma, Bhagavan is talking about now Jiva. He has come down to the different level now. Because Bhagavan has used the word Dehi. Dehi means one who is the indweller of the body. Well, what Atma we are talking about is the Satchidananda. Atma is Brahman, is all pervading. But here Dehi, Bhagavan says. So in terms of Jiva also, Bhagavan is going to tell that Jiva does not undergo any change. So with respect to body, it has to be shown that the indweller of the body does not change, and only Deha keeps changing. That's what he wanted to tell. So the Jiva means what? Who makes this body conscious. We will have to see this. This, whatever. I don't know, this may become, it won't, perhaps. No, nothing is going to change. Crystal wants to remain crystal only. Anyway, whatever it is. This is a crystal. This is a Satchidananda Atma. Without any attributes. You take it for me. Now any change? It looks a little bit brown or something. Yeah? Color paper. Yeah, correct. Thank you. We can put like this. Now any change? Could you find some change in this crystal? No.
I don't think we can see.
Oh.
To show them.
Oh. Correct. Good. This way. Correct. Now, this is Satchidananda Atma. This is body-mind complex. This, right? It has attributes. This has a color, etc. So paper has a color, etc. It has a shape, etc. Same way, the body also has a certain its own attributes. Body, mind, sense complex, everything. And this is Satchidananda Atma. So when the Satchidananda Atma gets as though connected, as though I am saying, because it's not like that, but it gets as though connected with this particular body-mind complex, Atma appears to be Jiva. Because Atma being a Satchidananda, it remains Satchidananda only, crystal remains crystal only. But then it happens so that this Atma, the Jiva appears on due to account of this Upadhi which is in nearby. I told you about the Upadhi, that which takes the attributes of this one thing appears on the something else. Then we say this is with a color, etc., with attributes, etc. Same way, body, mind, sense complex has birth, death, everything, and it keeps undergoing changes also, keeps changing also. And Atma, which is indweller of the body, well, it's just a conscious being, and it does not undergo any change. It's just a consciousness, but the consciousness gets associated with this Upadhi and looks having a birth, death, etc. So this is how we have to see the things. So where does this Jiva exist? So we say the Jiva is one which makes this body conscious. That's how it is been told, indweller of the body. So which makes what happens is, the body gets superimposed upon, because of the ignorance, body gets superimposed upon Atma. There is a self-ignorance, and therefore body gets superimposed upon Atma, and that is how Atma appears like with attributes. And the dharma of Atma is superimposed. Dharma of Atma. Atma is not superimposed. Atma cannot be superimposed, because what is superimposed is mithya, we are going to say later. Therefore, body, etc. is superimposed upon Atma. Well, that is correct. Body, etc. is superimposed, and therefore dharma of our body also gets superimposed. Where the dharmi itself are superimposed, the dharma also is superimposed. When this comes in the contact with this, then dharma of these attributes of this also will be superimposed upon this. So what happens is, so this is mutual superimposition, but in one case the body, etc., dharmi itself is superimposed upon the Atma due to self-ignorance, and therefore Atma appears like a body. And the attributes of the Atma, attributes of the body, etc., also is superimposed. So if a human body, then Atma looks human. If a male body, male. If it is fair, Atma is considered fair, right? Like I am fair, I am black, etc., we say. I am male, etc. I am female, I am human being. All this due to the superimposition of the body, mind, sense complex upon the Atma. This is one thing. And the dharma also, the attributes of the body also get superimposed. And what happens on the other side also? Atma is not superimposed. Atma need not be superimposed at all, because Atma is all-pervading. All-pervading thing cannot be superimposed. But the dharma of Atma appears in the body. What is dharma of Atma? Consciousness. And therefore, body looks conscious right now. So body, mind, sense complex along with the consciousness is called Jiva. So could you follow now? This is called Dehi. So because the Deha looks so conscious, there must be a superimposition. Because consciousness appears in the body, consciousness manifests in the body and makes the body conscious. Right? That's how we say the body appears conscious, and therefore this is Atma looks as though along with the body, mind, senses, because body, mind, senses is superimposed upon Atma, and therefore Atma is just of a dimension of the body. Atma is body, let's say. Atma is body. Whatever is the dimension of the body is the dimension of the Atma. Whatever is the dimension, what are the attributes of the mind, senses, etc., prana, etc., also everything appears in the self. And the self, which is consciousness, because of this association, appears, the consciousness appears in the body, mind, sense complex, and therefore this body is conscious, mind is conscious, senses are conscious. How can you say, Swamiji, they are conscious? They are able to see, hear, because they are made up, they are actually inert, but they appear as though they are conscious. And therefore, that's how we think that, because of this mutual superimposition. One is of dharmi and dharma superimposition, and on the other side, only dharma superimposition. There is a third entity, Atma, Anatma. They, as though through superimposition, appears one, and the third entity is called Jiva, right? Actually, it is not an existing entity. I have already told you, because the consciousness and inert thing cannot be combined. But because of the self-ignorance, I take it as a body, mind, sense complex. Myself, I take it like that. And body, mind, sense complex definitely appears conscious also. And that is called Jiva. Could you follow? This is how it is. Now, in this verse, Bhagavan says the body undergoes three states. He shows that. Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. So the body undergoes three states, each of which is distinct from the other two. For instance, like, whatever is there in boyhood, and there is, in a boyhood there was no need of like shaving, etc. Now, but once he becomes a Yauvanam, he becomes a youth, definitely he needs a shaving, and then it requires. Therefore, it shows what was not there in a childhood state now appears in the other two states. Same way, a lot of things. What was there in childhood state, like black hair, etc., and even in the youth also you may have a black hair, but in old age it turned grey or it may go away, etc. So many things. All the teeth were there in both the states, and now in the old age it is not there. Varieties of the things. A lot of things keep changing. So body keeps undergoing different kind of changes, and definitely what requires in the third, in Jara means old age. What requires in an old age, you don't require in the other two states. Like you require a stick, perhaps, in an old age. But in other two states, you don't require a stick, for a support, etc. So all the states keep changing. These are the states of the body. Yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Dehe. In this deha, you will find that there is a childhood, there is a youth, there is an old age, etc. And so the question is now, when the childhood passes and one enters in a youth, does the one dwelling in the body survive or not? That's the question. Does the one dwelling in the body survive or not? If there is no survivor, then an old man cannot talk about his childhood. If you ask an old man, have you taken food or not? He will start from his childhood days. I feel that is a thing. Every time. And once you have listened, and then again you ask you, how are you? But you should ask this much to an old man. If you ask, how are you? He again starts from the past days, and that too 50 years ago, from the childhood days. That shows what was there in a childhood, that I, which has undergone all the experiences of the childhood, is the same I now in the old age, because he used to recollect that as a child I did this. So even though body has undergone total metamorphosis, total change, some people say it is in 7 years the whole body changes. Some say in 12 years, whatever it may be. But definitely one thing is there. The body keeps on changing in terms of even blood and everything keeps on changing. New cells are born, except the brain cells. All the things keep on changing and changing. And by the time, after few years, if you see, whole new body. But change, we don't feel so. That's how we never feel a change in the state of the body. That's how, unless, in India, the youth as such, but he doesn't consider he's a youth. He feels as though he's still in the age of, he's a teenager or something. But then they, from the relatives, they come for asking of that your boy, we have one daughter, and your boy is, he's very handsome and he studied this, and therefore we have come here for proposal, marriage proposal and all that. Then if the boy listens, then he said, my teenage has gone, have I become youth? Am I qualified to get married right now? So one never realizes. Same thing happens when even youth goes and you enter in an old age, and person tells you uncle, then you feel a shock of your life. Or somebody says auntie, then you feel a shock of life. That shows that even the body keeps changing. There is no appearance of a change in I. Clear? And the other thing which I told you is, you can recollect of your experiences. Suppose if the childhood is gone, even and the I which was in the childhood also goes, then right now you cannot talk about your childhood. That I, as a child, I did this, as a youth I did this, etc., etc. You cannot talk. The same I continues in all the three states. So that's what Bhagavan wants to convey here. Yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. And asmin yatha asmin dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. Means, just as for the jiva, the indweller of this body, there is a childhood, youth and old age. Means for this jiva, these three states are there, but these three states belong to what? Deha only, of the physical body. And same way, you can see when in old age, the voice, etc., also becomes quite shaky. Puja Swamiji tells his voice has become shaky, but I is very solid, because the I which was there in the youth, in a childhood, the same I continues right now also. So one who was in childhood is the one who was in youth, and he is the one who is right now. Considering a old age person, this we say the same I continue in all. So I does not undergo any change at all. And that was brought to notice by the people, that you have undergone a change. Better you notice it. But we never feel the change within ourselves, right? Otherwise, uncle, auntie, why should you feel bad about it? Because if I know that I have entered into old age, I should not feel a shock of my life. But I feel a shock of my life. That shows that for me, there is no change. Body has changed. That's how people have noticed and call you uncle. But otherwise, you have not noticed. It means the I have not changed at all. Could you follow? So that is how it is. So as each state comes and goes, I remains the same. So although each state is destroyed, the Atma is never destroyed. So body is said to undergo a metamorphosis. As I told you, I was 7 years or 10 years or 12 years. Person, the conscious being remains the same. The jiva remains the same. Right? And so the birth of a later state does not imply a new birth and a new life for the person. Nor the death of the previous state also brings a death of the Atma also. So these states come and go, whereas Atma remains the same in a given body. That's what is conveyed in the first line. And then it says, Datha dehantara praptihi. Same way. Tatha means in the same manner. Yatha means just as. Tatha means in the same manner. Yatha generally indicates, here it's not the case, but Yatha generally indicates a illustration. And Tatha indicates a dashtanta, what for this is illustrated. So Tatha means generally in other cases. Here it is just as the jiva, the indweller, for this indweller, these three states are there of the body. Same way, Tatha dehantar praptihi, similar is the gain of another body also. So with reference to that, there is no change. Again he is getting a new body. Again, I mean, he is an indweller of the new body after the prarabdha is over, and he undergo all the three states again. And therefore, just as he remains the same in three states with respect to one body, same way he is going to remain the same with respect to other body. So if he undergoes, I mean, if he gets a new body, well, the I gets changed? No. The jiva appears in the new body with respect to his prarabdha, etc. He doesn't undergo any change. And therefore, jiva continues his journey. Jiva leaves his body, and after the old age, etc., when the prarabdha is over, the same jiva goes to the other body also, and there is no change at all. So, dehantara prapti. He, with respect to the another body, gaining the similar. Prapti means gaining up the other body also, this jiva will be there. So, why are you grieving for, Arjuna? So, in case if they leave this body, well, they will be getting the new bodies, and there will not be any change at all. The bodies will die, definitely. But even that, without your grief, they are going to die. Ultimately, if they are not in the war, even in their palaces also, one day they are going to die anyway. So you are grieving that they are dying. Why are you grieving? In terms of jiva also, it doesn't undergo any change within the body or after leaving the body also. They get another body according to their karmas, etc. I am going to talk about it also. So this is how this has been told. Dhiras tatra na muhyati means with reference to this also, a wise person does not come to grief. Looking from the angle of a jiva, not from the Sachidananda Atma. Looking from the angle of a indweller of a body also, there is no change at all. And one should not grieve for that. You thought they will leave and they will be destroyed, etc., etc. With respect to jiva also, there is no. And we have talked about, I think in the 11th verse, the pragmatic approach and all that. At the time we said, if we consider jiva also, we need not have to worry, because jiva continues one after the other, in one after the other bodies, and without any change. And therefore jiva does not die. So either from the Sachidananda Atma's angle or from the angle of a jiva, I mean indweller of the body, well, there is nothing to grieve for. That's what it says here. Now, there are a few questions in this with respect to that also we'll have to deal with. Now, there is a view there is one particular philosophy in India. There's a Jain philosophy. See, for everyone, this especially different philosophies, we call them as astikas. Astika means who believe the Veda is a means of knowledge for gaining the knowledge of self, etc. What Veda says, they take it as a pramanam. They're valid. Those philosophies would take Veda as a valid means of knowledge so far as self is concerned, nature of the self, etc. is concerned. That means, with respect to that, all these darshanas, we are called astika darshanas. Astika means what? Asti iti vadati iti astikaha. Asti. It is what? Vedaha pramanam asti. Veda is a pramanam. Veda is a valid means of knowledge with respect to what? 6 factors are there. Any philosophy has a 6 factors. Then it is considered as a philosophy. One is these 6 questions are there. Any system which answers these 6 questions, consider as a darshanam, philosophy. One of that is, what is jiva? What is Ishvara? What is the nature of this creation? What is this bandha? What is this samsara, etc.? What is this bondage? What is liberation? All these kind of questions. And what is the nature of liberation, etc.? These questions, where you find answer in any system, that is considered as a philosophy. Could you follow what I'm saying? That is considered philosophy. The system which answers this kind of questions is considered philosophy. Now, with respect to these questions, if any system relies on Veda, that is considered Astika Darshan. They consider Veda as a valid means of knowledge. And so, we say Veda is a pramanam for this question for few of them. There are 6 philosophies we consider Astika philosophy. There are other 6 philosophies we consider Nastika philosophy. With respect to these questions, they have arrived at the answers through the logic, not considering Veda into account. They don't accept Veda as a valid means of knowledge so far as to answer these questions. And those are the Nastika Darshanams. And Nastika Darshanam, there is, I talked about yesterday, called Charvakas, materialist people who says body is Atma. Well, if they say body is Atma, they have not taken into account Veda, because Veda says body, Atma is something distinct from the body, right? And therefore, definitely when somebody considers body as Atma and not ready to listen what Veda says, we call them that particular philosophy as a Nastika philosophy. Right? Then, in Nastika philosophy, one is this Charvaka, materialist people. Then the second one is Jainas. Jain philosophy also, they don't accept this. Jainas don't accept Ishvara also. Jainas don't accept some creator of the universe, means Ishvara. They say this creation is like this, it keeps going, like this only. And so it has evolved on its own, and it keeps going, and the matter itself has some kind of intelligence, etc., and it keeps evolving itself, and that goes on. That's the sabhava of this creation. That's something will die, and something is born, and something is die, and something is born. It goes on. There is no creator of this universe. So there is no Ishvara. They don't believe. But we don't say just because they don't believe Ishvara, that's how they are Nastika. We don't say so. We say because they don't accept to question these answers, they don't accept the Veda as a valid means of knowledge. And so we consider them as a Nastika. So Jaina is a Nastika philosophy. And then Bauddhas, 3 kinds of Bauddhas are also there. They are also considered Nastikas because they also don't accept Veda as such, as a pramana. That's how Adi Shankaracharya has to come and establish the validity of the Veda. And he has driven out these Bauddhas out of India because they were not accepting. In fact, they have started doing all kind of propaganda so that people will lose the faith in Veda itself. Well, and he came and established again validity. Anyway, that's another thing. But Jainas, what they say about Atma is, we say Atma is all pervading. It is it's the essence of everything, etc. They say no. Atma is of the size of the body. Well, it is distinct from the body, but it's of the size of the body. That's what they believe, of the size of. So Atma is not of the size of the atom. Some people believe that also. Atma is something like an atom of the size of the atom and in the heart, etc. And people try to meditate upon that, etc. No. They say Atma is not of the size of the atom. Atma is not all pervading also. The Brahman Vedantins call, well, it is not all pervading also. It is not of the size of the atom also. Atma is of the size of the body. That's what they say. And how do you say so? Do you have any logic? Yeah. We have a logic for that. You say, if the Atma is of the size of the atom, then you will experience pleasure, pain at that point only. To have an experience of pleasure, pain or anything, one has to be conscious. Consciousness, a conscious being undergoes experiences. This cannot experience anything, right? This cannot experience anything. This I can experience. or the body is conscious right now. So body can experience pleasure, pain, heat, cold, everything. This cannot experience any heat or cold or anything. So definitely if you are experiencing heat, cold, pleasure, pain, etc. throughout the body, Atma must be size of the body. That's what they say. It's not a size of the atom, because if it is an atom, how can you feel the pain in the leg? When like something, what we call anything, a pointed thing has, pierced your, in the thumb, you feel pain suddenly. That means definitely Atma must be present to experience the pain. If it is the size of the atom, well, other than that place, you won't experience any kind of thing. It will be dumb. Like, like diabetic people, they have a certain problem. They could not experience any pain in the legs and etc. As if the consciousness has gone, like that. And Atma cannot be all-pervading also. Why? If it is all-pervading, like if it is pervading, this body experiences all pain and pleasure, everything. If it is all-pervading, it will experience the pain and pleasure of other people also. Right? If Atma is all-pervading, it will experience the pleasure and pain and what goes on, mental pain also. Because it is all-pervading. So it pervades the mind, it pervades the body, all others' bodies, all others' minds, and therefore it will have a tremendous pain. And therefore Atma cannot be all-pervading, Atma cannot be of the size of the atom, Atma is just of the size of the body. That's all. This is their philosophy. And we will have to answer that. Now, we give an answer. That Atma is not of the size of the body, Atma is not of the size of the atom, Atma is all-pervading. We'll explain later. And what we say is, because of this particular upadhi, Atma appears of that size. Because of the upadhi. Upadhi means which, as I've told you, when the body, mind, sense complex and Atma, they are in touch with each other, when we should not be, but like you consider that way. For all-pervading, when question cannot come. For all-pervading. When space comes in contact with the pot, kya baat hai? Space is already there, but just for the sake of phenomena. Anyway, so when this body, mind, sense complex and the Atma, come in contact with each other, what happens is, definitely the Atma, which is all-pervading, appears as of the size of the body. Like when the pot is made, the space appears as though pot space. Right? It is one space only. There is no pot space created. Pot space is not created. But because of upadhi called pot, a limiting adjunct, that's called upadhi. Because of the upadhi, all-pervading space looks appears small, of the size of the pot. Same way as the body is born, definitely body is born, the Atma which appears in which manifests in the body, appears as though of the size of the body. Atma is not of the size of the body, but because of the upadhi, it appears as though of the size of the body. And that has been very beautifully told in Shvetashvatar Upanishad. Tvam stri, tvam pumana asi, tvam kumar utava kumari, tvam jirno dandena vanchasi, tvam jato bhavasi vishwato mukhaha. What happens is, tvam stri, because of the body of a woman, Atma, which is free from any gender, appears as though as a woman. Right? Atma appears as though as a woman. Same way, tvam puman. You are a male. When I say somebody, definitely the same Atma appears as though Puma, appears as though Purusha. Say tum Kumara. Kumara means who is a small one, etc. Kumari, all this means a girl or a boy, etc. Tam Jirnaha, Jirnaha means as if you are emaciated. Body is emaciated. But I address the person who is a conscious being. I said I never say you are emaciated, you are old. You look very old. So tam jirnaha. Because of the body, the Atma looks very old also. Dandena vanchasi, etc., etc. Anyway. So this is how it is. Due to the upadhis, Atma appears as though of the size of a human being, or that let's say Atma appears at the size of a human body. And that's in Gulf, etc., they say this, only the males have the Atma. The females do not have Atma. Very amazing thing they have. And so that's how a male can marry to 10 women. They don't have Atma at all. And only male have Atma. Not only women, all the things they eat in the kitchen, they also, living beings, etc., they don't have any Atma. You say you are killing somebody, because basically, ma himsyat sarva bhutani. Ma himsyat, you should not kill any living being. Well, we say like that, but they say this living being, so-called living being you are telling, but there is no Atma in them, and therefore we can kill them and eat. That's their philosophy. This is how they believe. The women also do not have Atma. That's how they also become a bhogya, etc. Sense object, objects of enjoyment, etc. Well, anyway, but we say Atma is all pervading, and through these different upadhis, through different dehas, it appears as though of that size, or appears as a male, female, etc., girl, everything. Basically, it is free from any gender, and it has no dimension. Because of the upadhi, it is as though looks of dimensions. So this we are saying this thing. Now there is another thing also which is going on in India right now is, once you change this body, human body, then that human body, then again the janma would be of a human being only. That kind of a thing is going on. It is very rampant. They say if you are born right now as a woman, in the next janma also you will be a woman. And if you are born as a male, in next janma you will be male. And you will be born as a human being, and that too, male will born as a male, and woman will be born as a woman only. Bhagavan says, Tatha dehantara prapti. Bhagavan has not told the same kind of a deha you get. Bhagavan said you will get another body, that's all. Not the same body. Bhagavan has not told that you will get the same body. So, they twist everything, of course, but that's a very rampant thing going on in India right now. Very big organization try to prove, they held certain conferences also, and they have their own philosophy, and they tell this also, that a human being, if you are born as a human being, don't worry, you are going to be born as a human being only. Well, that's not the thing. The answer is dehantara prapti. You will get another deha. Bhagavan has not told that you means you are telling, any human being. Bhagavan is talking to a human being right now. Right? Definitely. Of course, through Arjuna, he is talking to all other human beings only. This whole message is for human being, definitely not for buffaloes, we know. And therefore, if human being is addressed, that you will get a body, that Bhagavan has not given any assurance that it's a human body only. And therefore, this philosophy is it has no basis. And if Manusya gets the human being gets a human body, and then it's fine. But if he has not gained a human body in the another janma, well, it becomes a matter of his sorrow. And then perhaps Arjuna may be thinking that right now Bhishma has a beautiful life, human life. Drona has a beautiful human life they have lived, and when they leave this body, if dehantara prapti, if they will get suppose a body of a buffalo or something, well, I can't think of. I can't think of Bhishma gets a body. Let it be. Then let the same Jiva will be there. Jiva won't die, I understand. Through my arrows, body will be pierced and it will die. I understand. And Jiva will definitely enter into new body. But Bhagavan, you are telling Dehanta Prapti, they will get another body. Are you giving me assurance that they will be born as a better human being even compared to this life? Bhagavan has not given any assurance. Shankaracharya gives this assurance. Shankaracharya says, Na shocyaha Bhishma Dronadayaha Sadvrutatvat Parmartha Rupena cha Nityatvat. It's in Bhashyam, it's in commentary. So don't worry about. Don't be sorrowful about Bhishma and Drona. Why? Because Sadvrutatvat, throughout their life, they have lived a life of dharma. Right? They have lived a life of a good conduct, and therefore, definitely they are going to get a good janma only. And therefore, you should not worry about that. And so far as this, from the reality angle, well, nobody is going to get another body, etc. Atma is not connected with this body itself. Where is the question of it is going to connect with the next body? Atma has nothing to do with, there is nothing other than Atma. It's a non-dual Atma. So there is no question of getting new body, etc. That I have told you from the Jiva's angle, which is just a transactional reality. That's due to Upadhi, like due to this Upadhi, it appears yellow, etc. But it has not become yellow. Even when then it appears as yellow, it is not yellow, right? It has, otherwise, after even the removing the Upadhi, if it has turned to yellow, I have to do something to make it again colorless. Well, it appears as though yellow. And therefore, Atma consciousness appears because of the Upadhi as a of attributes and of having a Janma and Jiva and etc. Well, nothing to worry about, because with the reality taking into account, there is only Atma is Nitya. And from the Jiva standpoint, he has done lots of good karmas in the life. From the Jiva standpoint, if he is going to get another body, it will be definitely a good body. And so far as Atma is concerned, well, there is no question of going and coming here, etc. No question of Janma, Marana, etc. No question of Punya, Papa, etc. From the crystal angle, it is colorless. Even when it comes in contact with the Upadhi, it remains colorless only. Even though it appears, but it's an appearance. That's how we say appearance. It has not become like that. So it appears. Atma appears as a Jiva. Atma appears of having a birth, death, etc. It is not undergone any change. Could you follow? That's how. Therefore, there is nothing to worry about. They are not the objects of your sorrow. That's one thing. And one more point I have to discuss is there is a question here. Suppose a human being becomes an animal or a bird. Then why can't these samskaras of a human being, samskaras means this, impressions born of the human life, experience born of in a human life, then he has all the samskaras of a human being. What are the samskaras? Like when he is born as a human child, definitely it will behave in a certain way as a human being. It will not immediately try to jump and try to climb to the tree, etc. So definitely, because it's a human child, it has a samskar of a human being. Unless mother takes a child into a lap, it won't come for the food. Somehow the human child is very dumb. On all other living beings, you see that the mother doesn't take the child like that. The child just gets up. Like even a deer, etc., when they are born, for a few moments it will lie as it is. Then they just get up and they come near the mother for the food, etc., and they go exactly through the place from where they get milk. Right? It's an amazing thing. And like a monkey's child, and that also, after they are born, and now mother wants to jump. Then mother has not to teach like in a primary standard that beta you will have to, you see, you should, you have 4 legs and here 2 legs you have to, tight it and the other 2 legs like that, and then I will jump. And when I jump, you should not do any movement. All that, these lessons are not taken there. Somehow they just know. It's just born. No lessons are taught, but exactly when mother wants to jump, exactly in such a position they come into a mother. They make themselves tight around the mother like that. So that shows they had already known in a previous life, being a monkey. Definitely, being a monkey, they were knowing that this is how it should be, and this in Janma also they have got a monkey life, then they definitely know. Same way, if a human being is born as a monkey, suppose, then why can't the human impressions, human life impressions, born of the human experiences, why can't they manifest? Why only, even though he is a human being, he was a human being in previous Janma, now he is born as a monkey, he has got a monkey's body. Why monkey's samskara only appear there? Why can't there be a confusion? That's the question. Why there is a confusion? We'll have to answer that. And we'll answer that thing. And tomorrow we'll see that, because I think 5:30 we'll have to start. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.